So today's class, for a continuation of previous, we have created one job which loads a sample data. So today now we are going to see, 1 second, give me 1 minute.
This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah. So now I'm going to show you the copy operator in data stage. So normally we call stages, and in that terminology, if I want to say, I say copy stage. But normally these stages all are operators. Okay, each operator will perform in a different way. We have requirements. According to that requirement, we use the stages. Okay, of course, copy operator means the name itself tells us copy operator. Means you are going to copy some set of data from one place to another place or from one source to another source. So assume that I have a data. So just I'm showing you one kind of data. So I will not take complete. I'll just remove some, only just some information I'm taking. So what I'm doing, I have a source now. So this source, I just want to copy it from one input to multiple outputs. Multiple outputs without any issues. I don't require anything to be happened. Okay, the data as it is, how the source is, the same way I want to continue to the next level. So this is what my case. So for that reason, I'm going to use a copy operator which helps me in this requirement. So for that, I'm going to create a new job, new parallel job. Cancel. Instead of clicking on new, I clicked on open. So repository got open, but I closed it, and again I clicked on new button. So now I'm going to the database is Oracle, and I want to use copy operator. And one thing, you need to identify this palette processing stages or file stages, anything will be categorized in an alphabetic order. So copy means, here it is, copy and make it into a data set, and I want to make it into a file in another databases in another path. I want to copy it into multiple ways, right? So that is the reason we are using it. So now I have a copy stage to become my canvas somewhat a good view. I'm just closing this view and repository. Okay, so in the last class we have seen a loading directly from one database to a file, and now we are seeing just going through to multiple files. See here, you need to understand one thing. In the copy operator, I have one stage tab. Under stage tab, I have general tab, properties tab, advanced tab. And in the copy itself, I have only stage tab and general tab, properties tab, advanced tab. And in the stage tab, again, I have a stage CPG. So what I mean to say is, in every stage, once you bring onto your canvas and double click, you see the stage tab. Okay. So once you are going to provide a link, see here, I don't have a link operator to provide directly. If I want to get that, there are two ways. I want to go with palette option. The first way, the palette option, general tab, link. See, once you click on link, you get one round symbol on your mouse. Just left click your mouse button, hold your left click mouse button and drag it and place it onto your copy. Now you go and see in the stage page, you see before only the stage page. But now you see output page. Under output page, you have general tab, properties tab, columns tab, advanced tab again. Close it. And now go to your copy operator. You see input page is input page. So once you drag an input link, see one way I have shown you dragging a link operator from a palette. In another way, you don't need to go to palette, just right click your mouse button and hold it, drag your mouse button, you get a link operator. So there is no requirement to go to palette every time for a link operator. You can provide how many links you want, you can provide those many. And I just want to give some naming to these all stages and links, so it will be somewhat best. So in real time, mostly Vora databases are named as Vora. So Vora source I'll give a Vora source, and the link name is, this is the input link for copy. So I'll provide, this is Vora output. Vora output means this Vora output data is going to copy it into CP, copy into multiple. So multi, I just write multi, copy into multi. So this is input one, assume that, and this is input two, and this is input three. And here I just want to make sure the outputs, just for sample I'm placing some stages. Okay, but this requirement in real time, how can it be is, see for example, you want to go for a credit card option. Okay, assume that there is a rule in that bank, if anyone want to apply a credit card, they should have one savings account transactions done for past 2 years, then only he is eligible for credit cards. Now, this savings account information is required for credit cards. Credit cards. In the same way, you want to go for a loan. Then savings account information required for loans, because you are an existing employee or not. And the first terms and condition is the main, you should have a savings account which is running from past 2 years with multiple transactions. Okay, so this is the first requirement. Then your savings account information is required to these all departments. So we are copying the savings account data into multiple files. I'm sorry for the disturbance. It's a bit door open. Don't bother. It's nothing. Okay. And now this loads information. As well to another particular information I required. Assume that I'll just make it as insurance. So your one requirement is copied into multiple departments. This is what, don't bother of your source and targets. Just understand what is the requirement of copy. Mainly you need to focus here on copy operator. How does it help? Okay. Okay. Assume that the requirement data is EMP table, just casual requirement, EMP table, and you have that EMP table need to be copied into these three outputs. So how to do that, we are going to see in this session. This is the requirement that I want to fulfill in this session. So for that, first I need to import with giving some credentials. I want to import the table of EMP with giving some credentials. So I'm going to columns tab, importing table definition of EMP. Once you import, obviously you'll get this information. And before do that, I just want to show you one quick point. See, go to the copy and input tab, columns. You don't see any columns here. Once you import your columns information in your source, now you see in your input, you see the columns. And in output, do you see any columns? I didn't map these input columns to output. How can I say? By looking at this symbol. See, this is your table definition symbol. Do you see on your links? No. If I don't see means I haven't provided yet the input one link, the mapping. So input 1, input 2, input 3. There are the 3 outputs, but I see here only one output. How to see for second one? Just click on second, third. Okay. So this is the way that we do mapping in the output tab of copy stage. And now this is one of the process I need to do in the columns. I don't have any information. Properties, I didn't fill with any information. But you see symbol here, it is showing some squirrel or this is some other symbol. Like these are the 2 stages, 2 operators are same. That is the reason it is showing the symbol of same. What does this symbol stands? First of all, how does these symbols come onto your lines? See here, this is your link markers. Just unselect that, you don't see any symbol. It just removed the link marker. Don't think the table definition got removed. No. Only link markers are closed. So by what is the help of link markers means if you select this, it shows what kind of stage is this and have you got the table definition into your stage or not. So that's to be confirmed. We use link markers. So in our input 1, I'm making some big and expanding this pan. This is pan. The left pan to right pan, I'm moving the columns. Just mapping is done for only input 1. So I have been stopped like telling what is this symbol. So if you have these link markers, check them on. It is a good thing to understand your stages and as well the flow of your table definition. Stages wise, how it will help. So see here, go to the sequential file stage and stage. See the execution mode. What is the execution mode? Sequential. Click OK. So that is the reason you see this symbol. Go to data set, see the stage step, see what is the execution mode? Parallel. So that is the reason you see symbol like parallel. So again, stage page, see here sequential, the execution mode. And copies execution mode is parallel. That is the reason you see the symbol of parallel here. This is symbol of parallel and this is symbol of sequential mode. What is exactly sequential? What is exactly the parallel? We'll see. We have to wait for some sessions. Okay, that is a flow of your data in data stage. How does it maintain? How it is going to be configured? Everything we are going to see in the next sessions. So now back to my flow. I'm going to output again. Don't bother of other tabs. Input page, partitioning tab, columns tab, stage page, properties tab. I'll just go through, but don't be worried about those. We'll concentrate on what we are doing now. But later on we will discuss this all things. Just mapping. So mapping also, how many ways we can do. This is the next concept. Because if you have 10 outputs from copy, you should go ahead and you need to perform 10 times like that. It is a bad thing again, right? It's a performance. Means you are going to stage output and doing mappings for every stage like this for every output. This is not a good practice. At once I want to make all the outputs with the mapping. So for that I'll just remove this now. I'll just remove the mapping columns. I have just removed the mapping columns. So now go to the output. So mapping tab. You see, don't see any mapping to outputs. Okay. So just right click on your copy operator. Go auto map columns. So you can select individual output or just all outputs. So at a time your mapping is done for all the outputs. And there are two ways I have shown you to do the mapping. The first way, into the stage output tab, mapping page, mapping tab, output page, doing mapping from right pan to left pan. The other way, just right click and say auto map columns and select the all output, it will select. Now, what is the difference? In which requirement we go for this? So for here, I just want to make a note here. If you want to make a selection of your columns, I'm sorry, selection of your columns. I want only MP number. I want only department number. I want only salary column. Just click OK. Means you want a selected columns, selected list of columns to be mapped to the output, not all the columns. For example, as I said before, you have savings account information, but your account is a number is enough to those departments. But if your personal phone number, mail ID, these are not required. So in that case, you don't map all the columns to the output. You require only the selected columns. You do selection. So if you want all the columns from the input to output, just go to auto map columns. If you want only the selected columns, go to output tab and mapping output page and mapping tab and do the mapping. So this is just best practice in which case you want to do what. Now I'm just going to the requirement to save same input into multiple outputs. So I don't have any particular folder for us for this class. So I'm just creating one folder which tells me batch 101, and in some cases I just want to go with source files, and in some cases I want to go with target. So the both things I'm storing here. Okay. So now my requirement is to load it into target. So I have to load the data into target. And one more folder I'll put in target is sequential targets and dataset targets. This why I'm just mentioning like this and all, you'll just come to know once we are going further. We'll come to. Okay. So in sequential folder, I'm just trying to store my target, one of my target in this path. Just I made copy paste. So here the file mode, this all I will explain when we are talking with sequential file stage. But now we will discuss with only the process of creating of a file. So I'll just create a file name called credit card info dot txt. So I'll do some settings. You don't bother of this because this is not required for us. I mean, required means to discuss. No, it is not required. But when we discuss with sequential file, 100% I'll discuss with all the options what I am doing. Okay, don't worry, no worries, no worries. Format tab, partitioning, properties tab, and comma delimited. I'll just remove the double quotes. According to the settings, the file will be created. First line, column name, true. Okay. So columns are the only 3 columns I mapped. Just click OK. And the other way to give a file name, just browse it here. Browse for the file. Once you browse for the file, go to D folder. I have batch 101 target, that is dataset file. This is dataset file. I'll just make a name as loan.info.ds. These dataset files need to be given as .ds files. And next, the same way I'll go to the third file, but not dataset. I'll go to sequential file, and here I'll give info. This is just so text file, and I'm just giving this first line is column name true, and the format tab not comma. I'll give 5, and I'll remove these quotes now, and just mention. Okay, these are the settings that have been provided. Now the design is done. I completed with my design. Now I'm going to compile. But before to compile, it will ask to save. Automatically it will ask to save. So once you go to the jobs folder, click on batch 001. I'm just discussing of copy operator. So I'll do copy name of this copy operator. So this is job 1. I'll give you as job 1. So now this you need to understand the untitled 2 will be changed within copy operator job 1. Save. Once you click copy operator job 1 is saved. Now it is compiling automatically because I directly I clicked on compile button. So it has to save and compile. Now compilation is done. Now I'm going to run my job. So once I click on run, the data starts from Oracle connector and loads into the target. So see here, I have created 14 records for each output. Okay, now we'll just go to the targets and see what kind of data. Batch, target, sequential target. So this is CC info. So EMP number, department number, salary. I given only 3 output columns. So I'm getting only 3 output columns are shown here. 3 output columns are shown in target. I'm sorry, not this one. And there is another output which is info. That is this one, info, insurance, columns, all columns. Now go to this path, see all the data. And that too, it is a pipe delimiter. And the CC info is comma delimiter. So the delimiter get generated using the stages in the stage of settings. Okay, but we'll discuss with the stages individually when we come to sequential file. Then we will come to know the options of sequential file stage. Okay, so this is what my requirement of using a copy and creating files. So we'll stop here and we will continue with next classes, with next sessions. Thank you very much.